Well, I just left Northfield Park. Everybody's done for the day. It's noon. I'm heading down to Scioto Downs. Going to get an early start down there today. We have some clients in town in Columbus from all over the U.S. that are going to the races tonight and wanted to maybe meet for lunch. So I got my mask with me, and we'll go get something to eat this afternoon. I know I feel bad for all our Canadian clients that can't get across. You know, this is the great thing about the stable is you got to track, like, from my house, you know, Northfield Park, under 4.5 hours. The Meadows, under 5 hours. Scioto's a little longer, it's around 6, but still, these are all driving distances. And when you factor in that we're racing 4 of our best horses in Ohio tonight, and then coming back with our best horse from last year, Globetrotting, 9-hole or not, it makes for a pretty cool excursion. So I feel bad for our Ontario clients, and then expanding on that, you know, I take for granted sometimes that stuff, you know, you guys say, you know, people say all the time, I don't know how you do it, and I don't know. I got the best piece of advice. Yeah, I tell people all the time, you know, you can't go through life without getting good advice and bad advice. But I would say one of the best things I was ever told in my life was, I don't even know who told it to me. They said, only worry about the stuff you can change. Don't worry about the stuff you can't. Now, this is where this comes in important. I'm in Ohio. I'm away from my family. I love my kids, my wife. I want them to be down here with me, and if they can't, I want to be with them. It's just not possible right now. My wife and I, you know, God love her. I mean, my wife is taking care of 3 kids and keeping an eye on our barn to make sure things are running smoothly, making sure everybody has stake checks. You know, she helps take care of White Tiger in the morning. She loves White Tiger, so she helps him take care of him. So as busy as I am, Amy is much busier. But she knows, she gets it, right? And I guess it comes down to good teamwork, is that, you know, my wife understands why I'm here. She understands why she can't be here. And as frustrating as it is, and as I guess depressing as 2020 overall could be for everyone in the world, you got to try and hang on, and you got to try and do what's best and work through it. Same as anything else. You know, you can look on a very micro level and say, you know, the virus we went through, right? The virus we went through was hard on everyone, really hard here on Jason and Kirby, because the horses weren't racing good. And although I take the brunt of much of the pressure, whether it's obvious or whether it's right on top of you or whether it's just assumed and sensed, I take the brunt of that pressure from our clients, and I put a ton of pressure on myself. And obviously, you know, Jason and Kirby take their job very, very seriously, same as the rest of our caretakers, even the riders. Nobody wants to have the horses race bad. We want to do what's right, but we also don't want to make the same mistakes as the past. And just a short story, I had an email today from a client wondering why Need Your Opinion wasn't in the grassroots. A few of our clients had asked that question. This particular client made a great point. She trained great on a half-mile track. She trained great at Tamiko. She raced on a half last year. Why is she not at Grand River? It's a great question. Very fair. So this ties into what I was just saying about the sickness. Last year, we had some sickness. We treated the horses. We raced them. And at the end of the year, they were tired. So my goal is to figure out, how do we train the horses down and race them in such a way that they're not tired at the end of the year, or they're less tired at the end of the year and more effective throughout the year? Need Your Opinion gets around a half because she's tough. She still scrubs on her knees a little bit in the turns, and she's not as handy on a half as you'd think she'd be. She got out of gear in the Battle of the Bells, I think, elimination, if I'm not mistaken. So, from the outside looking in, as I'd said to the client, without knowing all the information, that's a very fair question. Why is she not racing there? One, she's sitting 11th in points, and the horses below her are in no jeopardy of passing her, more than likely. She's still got 1 start at Mohawk in the grassroots, and if she does well, she's a lock to make the semifinals and finals that are at Mohawk. And if she isn't a lock, then we make a decision and say, okay, Do we race this filly in Hanover? She won in Hanover last year, so she could, she had to. But what we're looking for here is a path of least resistance, right? We're looking for the way that we can race our horses as stress-free as possible and make as much money as we can. I spoke to Kevin in passing, and I felt bad because I didn't pass it on to everybody. To be quite frank, I forgot they were drawing the grassroots. I'm not in charge of entering the horse, so it's not like it was an error in that regard. But I didn't realize that they were racing. It just slipped my mind. I have a few things on it right now. So I guess if I had have given everybody this information before the draw, there wouldn't have been all those questions about it. So in that regard, that's my fault. So with Need Your Opinion, we want a filly that we know struggled in the heat and the allergies last year, so Kevin has raced her appropriately. It's not Kevin's fault, her fault, or anybody else's. 2 starts back, she got run into not once, not twice, 3 times in one race. Then the other day, Mario ended up in a blind switch halfway down the lane, but raced well. Anybody that has watched her race, from when I drove her, when she was second beat ahead, to her subsequent next 2 starts, you know she's sitting on a win at Mohawk. They go for 16 or 17,000, which is 3,000 or 4,000 less than the grassroots. But if you draw outside of 5 at Grand River Raceway, in with a decent few fillies, you're not getting any money anyway. So we look at a class we should win from virtually any mildly favorable post to a start that's going to be very hard on a filly on a half-mile track. And if she draws bad, we're giving away money again. So I stand behind the decision Kevin made. I think it's a wise decision. We do have Mohawk next time for the grassroots. If she finishes in the money, she's a lock for the semifinals. And if we're concerned about the semifinals, we'll simply make the decision maybe to go to Hanover. But we want to be able to conserve as much of the season as we can. And it goes back to what we were doing with our sickness also. Another bunch of questions. Where's Adrenaline Rush? Where's Brilliant Corner? Surely they're healthy now. Every horse is different, right? And I've made it very clear to every one of our trainers in Ontario, as abundantly clear as I can, do not race any of our horses remotely sick. No Free Lunch was remotely sick the other day. Could have been, maybe, who knows? Scratch him. We're going to do what's right for the horses. We're going to see how it pans out at the end of the year. And it's tough from a trainer. You know, you guys know me and everybody else that works for us. We're going to get up in the morning. We're going to go to work. We're going to work hard. I expect the same out of our horses. You can't expect a sick horse to beat healthy horses. It's just not viable. It's not reasonable. It's not realistic. And it's not likely to happen. And then furthermore to that, racing a horse sick compounds, I believe really the easiest way to put it is takes starts away from those horses. It takes away from the end of their season. And it may actually hinder their sophomore season also. So we have a number of horses that were sick or getting over the virus right now. They're not ready to go. Kevin told me Adrenaline Rush is still coughing a little bit. Brilliant Corners is still coughing a little bit. That's the tail end of it. That's the tail end of what is going on. They have that 2 or 3 days of just intermittent coughing. 2, 3, 4 times when they're jogging. That's the end of the virus, it seems, that we've seen. So we're going in the right direction. They've been jogging. They'll train slow. They'll probably go over Wednesday and train fast at Mohawk. And then they'll be ready to go. But I need everybody in our care to not race sick. Because there are times that it's not caught. Right? Warwie was up. Perfect example. It's a horse that didn't have a temperature, ate all his lunch, had no mucus, no coughing. Raced like crap. We scoped him after, full of mucus. What are you going to do? Not much you can do about that. I think we've done right by the horses and in turn done right by ourselves. And that is the best way forward. Now, tracking all the way back to what I'd said, we're here in Ohio. I'm away from my family, but I handle stress, I guess, as good as anybody. I'm in an extremely high-stress job to begin with. I walk around with a smile on my face. It's not a facade. I love my job. I love my work. But not everybody takes it the same way. And I know that it's kind of eating away at Kirby and Jason, you know, not being able to go back to Canada without quarantining. You know, not being able to every summer, Jason and Kirby, I believe, they go on a trip with their friends. Kirby does for sure. Goes on a trip with their friends for a long weekend. In fact, maybe this long weekend, and they can't this year. And any of you that know how different everybody is, you know what I'm talking about. Just because Anthony can suck it up, do his job, because I have a supportive wife and somebody who's a real rock standing behind me, doesn't mean that everybody does. So it's hard on people. And I know it's hard on Kirby and Jason and racing. And, you know, we're in a place. We're Canadians, right? We're in a place where there is still COVID-19 around, right? Said last night, they're still rioting in Cleveland. Just so you know, I'm living in Cleveland. So it's a bit of a powder keg you're sitting on, and if you go to bed worrying about COVID-19, you go to bed worrying about the position you're in right now, even though I can make an argument there are far worse positions to be in and far worse places to be sitting, laying, and working in, it's still very tough. Very, very tough. So, and I take that for granted sometimes. The reason I'm saying this is because I don't know how hard it's weighing on them, but I'm sure it's weighing on them plenty. Me, I stick to the golden rule. That piece of advice I was given a long time ago by someone I can't remember. Worry about the stuff you can change. That stuff bothers me. Did I make a mistake on the track? You know, is that tickle in my throat more than a tickle in my throat? I don't have one today, by the way. Relax. But these are the things that worry me. Now, I felt terrible. I was going to sneak home, see Amy and the kids this weekend. Booked off Saturday at Northfield. I had a couple of drives or something. Didn't have anything Sunday. Only had to be in Bowling Green, so theoretically, again, I'm not great with geography, but I believe I could have crossed at Windsor and gone to Bowling Green, if I'm not mistaken. Either way, it was very doable, the whole situation. My wife, it's a long weekend, right? You don't get holidays, let alone long weekends of horse racing. I didn't realize that she was going down to visit with her mom and her sister. Now her sister's a pharmacist, her mother works in a law firm. And I told Amy when I went home 2 weeks ago, I said, make sure you tell your family I am home. So you probably can't go see them for 14 days because you need to be safe for them also, right? Such a weird thing to say, right? Such a weird time we live in. So sure enough, she's like, I can go see them next weekend. And I said, no, honey, you go see your sister and your mom. I'll come home next weekend. The greatest thing is my kids, you know, they're 7 and 9, and they get it. They understand why I'm here. You never hear my daughter say, but why can't you be home? She knows why I'm here, and she knows what it takes to, takes to run the stable. And it's not to say that everything wouldn't run smoothly over here without me. It's not to say that I have a calming effect. I might make it stressful on people too, without even knowing it or meaning to. But at the same time, I take my job as serious as any human being on earth. And I know that I want to be here to make sure things are running well. I like going to the meadows, going with the horses also, working with Tim to make sure the horses are racing as good as they can. Came and schooled Captain's Maid last week. She was a winner. A little side note also. I didn't realize that they didn't write a 2-year-old non-winners 2 event in the Meadows. This is so ridiculous. So they write a 2-year-old maiden, and then virtually it's every man for himself after that. So Tim had entered her. They split the class. She drew the 9-hole. You're going to find out in a maiden. This is an open maiden, which I have no use for. If we're trying to develop young horses, they shouldn't be racing against 3-year-olds. It's just the way it is. And I had a conversation with the general manager, Mark Lowy, of the Meadows, as I said in my opening comments. And I said to him, I understand there's a lot of claimers written here. And listen, man, I'm a Canadian in your track, in your country, in your state, in your city. I don't want to rock the boat. But at the same time, here's the predicament I'm in. If you aren't going to write a non-winners of 2 for 2-year-olds, or a non-winners of 20,000, so that I can develop our Captain Treacherous filly with Tim in a fair and honest manner, I'm going to be forced to send her somewhere I can. They ride in Elmer's too at Philadelphia in the Poconos. I don't want to have to send horses away from Tim, who's doing a great job. But I have to do what's best for our clients and our horses. I said, I know what your answer is going to be before you say it. You're going to say that class won't fill. Ron Burke will put 3 in there. You know, somebody else will put one in. We'll put one in. He said it can't go to the 5-horse field. I said, I get it, but if you continue to write it, it'll eventually fill. People will know that there's classes to race their young horses in. I said, as is. And again, no disrespect meant, but as is. If you don't write those classes, what would ever make somebody from the Meadows want to buy a horse where there's no classes? So you're virtually saying we're a claiming racetrack. And if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But if you're going to develop young horses here, you have to give people a place to graduate them. So I believe they understood that. I know that he did. Very, very nice man to talk to. I think we're gonna do some business in the Meadows in the sense that I think they're going to be one of the first tracks. I'm sure Woodbine will immediately also. And Ohio is always good to work with us to put the information on our app for our clients and on our site for our clients. So if your horse is racing at the Meadows or Ohio or Woodbine at any given night, what's on the menu? What hotels are in the area? Is there a direct link? Just click on it, take me there. And if there's any deals like in restaurants at the casino or at the racetrack, obviously there's not right now with COVID-19, but if there is in the future, what are they and what's available for our clients out there? So that's what we're trying to do moving forward. So in regards to sickness, as I said, I think we've done a great job staying on top of it. And you can see the results, right? We did go to the fairs and somebody said, well, it's fairs. Listen, man, I don't know if anybody's paying attention. There's no easy racing anywhere in this earth right now. So if you think it's a fair or it's, it's Northfield, I watched the maiden Fillies and Mares Pace. Maiden Fillies and Mares Pace going 52-4 last night at Northfield Park, half-mile track. Just so we're clear, that would be where Momo would have raced had I not taken her to the fair, and had I not taken her again Monday to the fair in Bowling Green. Difference of about $1,000 in purses and what? 9.4 seconds. That's the difference. So we need to put our horses in where they can win. That goes without saying. That ties into something else I wanted to talk about, which is West 52nd last night. A couple of horses, really. I understand, and my job is to get the emails from people that are upset also. What's wrong with Rooney Blue Chip? Why is he on the run? Why can't they get him a trot? Why'd you take West 52nd off the gate last night? Why didn't you let him rock? Okay, let's get to that. The maiden at Mohawk is going too fast for Rooney Blue Chip right now, and it has been since we started back racing. I'm not going to gut him chasing speed. So I said, where is the best place to race a maiden trotter that needs a bigger track? Illinois is the obvious answer. Maybe Indiana, but likely Illinois. We want to be careful too, right? Because he doesn't have a lot of money made. He's not a stake horse. So our interest in Rooney, at least some of our clients' interest in Rooney, is slipping and waning. I get that. Understand it completely. But I still think there's a horse with some speed and some talent in there. Angie and Rob do a great job, and they've struggled with Rooney. Now, let's look at what went on with Rooney in the past. He sent him a John Boot chain, couldn't get him a trot. Gelded him, sent him home. We raced him. Before we raced him, I sent him to Kevin. Kevin asked me to take him back, said he's maybe not for me. I love Rooney Blue Chip. We got him to go, got him qualified. And it's not easy. It's not easy to say, maybe he's not for me. But that's what kind of a professional Kevin is. Rather than tinker and tinker and tinker and tinker, you all have to know your limitations. We all have limitations. I certainly do. And we have to know where those limitations are and then be honest and upfront and truthful. And I was very impressed in the fact that he said, hey, maybe this horse isn't for me. Maybe, we'll move him along. So sent him back up to the top barn. We got him qualified, got him racing. Thought we had him in a good spot. Had we been able to, I think if you look back at his lines, we had him in a great spot right when COVID hit, right? He qualified, he looked really good. We didn't get to build on that. So in March, April and May, not only did we not get to race him and build on that, but we had to train him on a half-mile track where he's not comfortable. So it was frustrating for me in that regard, and frustrating for our clients. We raced him a couple of times. It looks like he's coming on. He can't quite trot fast enough. That last mile that he went for me at Mohawk, 57 last quarter and 28-1, finished 6th, 5th. That's not fair to him. So Illinois was the choice. Sent him out there, and he's made 2 breaks. So I told Rob and Angie, hang him up however you want. Try and qualify him on Saturday. If he doesn't qualify, then if I have to intervene, I will. If we got to send him, maybe we could send him down the road to Indiana, where I'm going to be next weekend, I believe, anyway. So I can qualify him, I believe. Now, again, I'm being presumptuous, but I believe Indiana qualifies on Saturdays. I could be way wrong. In fact, now that I said it out loud, I believe I am. Nevertheless, whatever day it is, I can go. Can't take him to Northfield. He's not going to qualify good on a half-mile track. I'm not going to Scioto. I could go to the Meadows, I suppose. That's an option. But let's work with the fact that Angie and Rob will hopefully get him squared away for Saturday. That's my hope. And I understand the angry emails about Rooney, and it hasn't worked out. But I would ask you this: put yourself in my shoes. I'm doing the very best I can to move a lot of chess pieces around a very, very big board. Not all of them are going to be the right move, but they were all done with the right move at heart. When I looked at what options I had for Rooney Blue Chip, Illinois was obvious for me, and that is certainly not a dig or a condemnation of Rob and Angie. They've done a great job for us, worked very, very hard, and are good horse people. So whether Rooney qualifies on Saturday or not, we'll get to the bottom of it. It's number 1. Number 2, West 52nd. Again, why'd you take him off the gate last night? Well, West 52nd is a horse that is transitioning from his 3-year-old to 4-year-old season. Some people don't understand what that means. Some people don't agree. But the position I'm taking, and it's my position to take, is that the 4-year-old season for any horse, pacer or trotter, is very difficult, particularly trotters. We saw West 52nd race okay last year. We took the hobbles off him. He trotted in 53 last quarter and 27 2 or 3 or 4 times. Looked great doing it. Didn't really accomplish a whole lot financially speaking. It's great to see him mature and become a better horse and look faster and look like he's got something ahead of him. But there has to be some meat on the bones there, so to speak. We have to be able to make some money. There's a horse that probably could and would have done better in Illinois. So in that regard, we took him over here. His first start, he looked like he raced sick. Ronnie rolled him along, and he got weak and got beat. But looking at last night's race, there's a lot of speed in there from horses that I didn't think could beat him, front end speed, and I didn't want to race the horse on the front end. I didn't want to gut him again. When I come off the track, I had said to Jason and Kirby, I don't know if Northfield's a spot for him. Yes, he was second the night that Yes broke the world record on a half-mile track for Geldings. Yes, he was second. Yes, he raced good. But that isn't to say that this is a perfect spot for him right now. Can he win the bottom class, Nominers of 4? Yeah, sure he can. Where does that get him? We can race him out in Illinois, Nominers of 4, right up into the Open if they'll take him. By the way, I'm publicly making my argument to send West 52nd to Illinois. Very easy horse to race. Just a nice horse to be around. I just think if he's going that speed on a half-mile track, it's going to wear on him, right? And as you guys know, we went through this, and think back. Just take a second to think back how bad of a start and how much bad luck we had with Stonebridge Simba, right? It only takes putting them in the right spot at the right time. All of a sudden, Simba, has a win or two, second, third, fourth, hasn't missed a check, raced great. He's just done great things in Pennsylvania at the Meadows in the class he's in. That's what happens when you have the right tool for the right job, so to speak, the right horse in the right class. And I think that's where we're at with West 52nd. He could go to the Meadows too and do well, I suppose. I think that's worth looking at. I think he would be actually suited well for the Meadows, but I think he's well suited for Illinois. I guess what I'm getting at, ultimately, what I'm saying is, I don't think he's suited as well for Northfield as Jason and I originally thought. If I let him spring off the gate last night, does he win? Yeah, but he just didn't feel like he was just comfortable on a half. He was safe, did his work well, ended up 5th. But when I come off the track, I felt that he was in the wrong place. So, and there's a number of horses like this. They're not the only ones. Listen, we got a lot of horses that people have a lot of questions about. You know, why did you sell all the horses the other day and you still have Sebastian Yu here? I thought Sebastian Yu was racing great. I thought he schooled great. He made a break the other day. Not shocking, I suppose. A little surprising to me, which may not make sense to you because he's made breaks, but a little surprising to me. So, I'll put him in the condition claimer, and I'm going to go race him next Wednesday. Why the condition claimer? 2 reasons. 1, he fits in there fine. And 2, I'm in Indiana on Tuesday, and I want to drive his next start. So I told Tim to put him in Wednesday at Meadows. And we can do this all day. There's a number of horses that are still on that bubble. The reason we sold the horses we did, and I'll reiterate this again, is because I didn't personally believe that those horses could race every week and be effective. That doesn't mean some of the horses we kept aren't really in the same boat. They're just not quite there yet in my mind. And ultimately, that's really what it comes down to. So we talked about sickness. We talked about racing, finding jurisdictions for horses that they fit, where they can race full time. Had an email the other day from somebody of Cavill Hanover's clients. Hey, nothing against Kyle Fellows, great guy. Might not be the best spot for Cavill Hanover's. There's somewhere we can race him in the States. We can race him anywhere in the States. We'll start looking into that. I think maybe Philadelphia, Yonkers, Poconos, somewhere around there. So 2 questions. Is he going to get in every week, or at least maybe 3 times a month? At least. Who do we send him to? And does that make the most sense? I've already opened up a file, so to speak, on Cavill Hanover and what we're going to do with him in the coming weeks. I like what he did 2 starts ago. Came from off the pace, raced well. I can easily make an argument. Somebody said, well, he should have won the other night. I guess if you turn the volume down, you could say, yeah, he should have won. But if you turn the volume up, you'd realize that there was 5 horses in there that raced in the open on their lines. 5. He's not an open trotter yet. And whether you subscribe to 4-year-olds struggling racing against 5- and 6-year-olds or not, doesn't matter to me. It's a reality. Many 4-year-olds that start their 4-year-old campaign really struggle against age horses. Some don't, because they're really good horses. But some do. And that's where we're at with Cavill Hanover. I don't think he struggled the other night. Listen, I could come on here and say, he's probably sick. I'll be honest, I haven't heard from Kyle. I don't know if the horse was a little bit sick. I don't know what his take was. Heard from James. James thought maybe he should have been a winner, but thought also that there was fair horses that beat him in there. He said the one thing you have to realize, and I never thought about it until he said it, was he raced later in the program. All those fast miles that went earlier in the program was a lot hotter. Sounds like a bit of a cop-out, but it's not. It's true. So, again, where do we race him? Who gets him? These are the things that, and maybe he just stays where he is. Those are the things that are rattling around in my head, all the time. And then, as I said, driving down here to have some lunch with clients. But at the end of the day, I'm driving down here to race 4 of our best horses in tough. Doesn't mean they can't win, but it does mean I got to have my trotting gloves on my hands and my brain attached to my head pretty good tonight. I'm a lovely lady, my jazz, mama knows best, GW Chrome. I love GW Chrome to death. Drew the 8-hole. He didn't need the 8-hole tonight. 8-horse field. Probably going to take him to the back. See what kind of horse GW Chrome is tonight. I'd like to see a good mile out of him, but we'll see. So all this stuff is going on, and then when I finally get to relax my brain, finally get to sit down in a hotel room by myself, turn on the TV before I go to bed, I gotta wonder if we're putting too much stress on some of the people over here also. I know that I can take a lot more stress. I'm built for it, I guess. I don't know. That doesn't mean everybody is. So, I know our clients are stressed out because you can't come and watch your horse. You bought these horses to watch them race. Many of you did not buy them to watch them race on TV, and now you all have to. So for us here in Ohio, in Pennsylvania, I appreciate everybody doing the best they can to adapt to a new year that's difficult for everyone. This new normal, as they say, we're trying to grasp onto and mold so that it fits our old normal somewhat. is difficult to do. For the people that own horses in Ontario, the horses will get healthy. They're being trained to the best of their ability. I stand 100% behind Harry, Kevin, Mario, and Johnny and James are doing the horses at Shed Row 2, getting them ready to race also. Rose Run Why Not? She's trained a few times now. She's on her way back. Gray is the New Red on her way back. Mario's taking care of Holy Chick and Jazzy Judy right now. Jazzy Judy is going to be coming to Northfield Park with us. Why? Because I want to train her down. I want to keep an eye on her. And because there is a pool right beside our barn. So as you know, we had an OCD removed from her knee. It's a little painful sometimes. The transition isn't easy and the rehab is hard. So having that pool beside there is a big help for us. So Jazzy Judy's going to be coming over here with Rose Run Why Not and Gray is the New Red within the next 10 days. Not until they're all healthy, though. We've had our fair share of sickness in Ohio. The only thing we've had more of than sickness in our stable this year is bad post position draws. I said to somebody today, Captain's Made drew 9, Globetrotting drew 9, GW Chrome drew 8, Beach Boutique drew 7. It's hard to believe that it's as random as it's supposed to be when we're always drawing poorly, but I guess, the mathematical and analytical people out there would say it will all average out. We're going to have to draw a lot of rails in the near future for it to average out. It feels like we're just condemned to the outside every week. So between battling sickness, battling bad post positions, and just trying to get through the most chaotic year of all of our lives, we are doing the best we can. So keep the emails coming. I understand that people have a lot of questions, and I hope I've answered all your questions that you have. If you've sent me an email and I haven't got back to you, you might have got me on a busy day, and I do apologize. Just hit resend, and I'll be happy to reach out to you. So, not only do we need luck, but you need luck. Tonight in Ohio, we got a lot of horses racing over the next 48 hours in 2 countries. And, coming out of the Ontario barn, obviously we have some horses that are a little short, getting over the sickness, maybe a little weak. So I ask for your patience. You may not see the horses race as well as you want. Although, Tipsy and Dixie somehow, in the midst of every horse in Harry Polton's barn being sick, Tipsy and Dixie somehow skirted the virus and jogged last night in the grassroots. So that definitely put a charge into my step and a smile on my face. It always does, doesn't it? So we are doing it right. If we weren't, you wouldn't see the results you do, whether they're at the fair at Lake County Fairgrounds, or whether it's at the Meadows with Captain's Made, or whether it's Trafalgar, Time Al Houdini, Tipsy and Dixie. If we continue to work hard and do things right, it's supposed to pay off, and I hope it does. So, thank you everybody for your patience, your emails. We're doing a good job. I think this summer we'll get through it. The next biggest headache for me is about to start around the corner, which is the yearling sales. I will be talking to everybody in the coming months about this. This is a real problem because I don't know what we're going to do this year. I don't know the financial situation of any of our clients. I don't know who is interested in buying yearlings. I don't know what we're going to do. We are going to be approached by a lot of breeders. We've already been approached by a lot of breeders right now to take on their horses. But that's a financial weight on me, which in turn I have to be able to facilitate into selling shares to our clients and potential clients and new clients. So over the next month, we're going to be reaching out to you, and I hope that you're quite forthright and upfront and blunt with us if you want about who wants to be involved with yearlings this year. We are going to be buying yearlings. We are going to have yearlings for sale. We are going to have lots of yearlings in our barn. But I can't be overstretched like I was last year. So we are going to be relying on our clients to put forth some information for us, and we will take that information on and disseminate it as is and keep you guys on the loop. So that's it. I'm still an hour away from Scioto, hoping for a big night tonight. Wish you some luck. I wish you some luck. I will talk to you soon. Take care.